Hi, I'm Sweetness. I'd like to share with you some instances that God has used other people to show me His love and His faithfulness. I share some stories of when I was on University of Ghana campus and how God intervened. Sometimes even about things that I had not prayed about, but I was desiring. So right from my undergrad, I had no laptop for some time, and I needed to work on my project work. And God made a lecturer like me so much to the extent that he would give me his office keys to use his office for the whole weekend to do my research and everything. And I had a very great time. It was then that people used to say, oh, probably she's dating the lecturer, blah, blah, blah. But to the glory of God, I was not dating the lecturer. God can let people bless you with no strings attached. Fast forward, I did my national service at the University of Ghana as a teaching assistant. And during that time, I had struggles with my health, which was related to a connective tissue disorder. And so most of the time I had to go back home. So my initial dream of wanting to become a geneticist and then, breed better varieties of vegetables for Ghana had to be changed. So I decided that, okay, let me do law because I think I have a flair for that. And so I went to buy the law school forms and I wrote the exams. Some of my lecturers who were my friends, as well as my mom, also said, why don't you also buy the School of Communication Studies forms and apply for that too? You never know. I thought, no, I don't need that. I just want law, and law it is. So we went on at it until the very last day of the sales of admission forms, when my mother insisted that I'm not the one paying for it and so I should go and get it. So I went to campus. When I got to the graduate school, I was told that they had closed sales, even though it was not the close of day. That was really disappointing to me. I left, kind of really down. And as I was going, somebody came out of the building and said, lady, what do you want? I said, I came to buy forms, but I'm told I should come next year because sales have closed. And then he said, how many forms do you want? That kind of took me by surprise. I said, oh, I just need one just for myself. He said, are you sure? I said, yes. He says, come tomorrow, I'll get it for you. So the next day I went, I paid, he gave me the forms, and he actually told me to come back and when I fill my portion, bring the rest back, so he takes it to all the places that needed endorsement. And he did all of that for me. At the end of it all, I tried to give him some little token of appreciation and he refused to accept it. And to this day, I don't recall his face or his name, and I just know that that was an angel that God sent. And guess what? I did not get admission to the law school, and so I ended up going to School of Communication Studies to have my master's, and that's what I have. And then also during the course at the School of Communication Studies, there was this one time we had to travel to Burkina Faso for FESPACO, the Festival of African Film Fest, African film, and that from the diaspora. And the very dawn that we were supposed to travel, I had a crisis. that was terrible for me. And my director said, no, you're not traveling with a team. I was really heartbroken, and I was taken back to my room. And then the next day, I got a call from the School of Communication Studies that I was needed. And so I went. And to the glory of God, the director had a plane ticket for me to fly up. And so even in the midst of that storm, there was a blessing. And that was encouraging for me to keep on trusting God. And by the way, before I even got to start the School of Communication Studies, because I was having so many health challenges, most of the funds available were being used for medications and labs and all of that. And so it was pretty tough financially. And I was going through the orientation and I hadn't paid, and there was a deadline. So I said, God, after orientation, if I don't get the money, I will defer. On the last day of the orientation, I was sitting in the public transport on my way to campus, thinking that you better come through or I defer. And then I get a call, and the person on the other end said, "How are you? What's up?" I said, "I'm on my way to go to campus to defer my course." He said, No, that cannot happen. Just ask them if you can make a deposit and then just come over and get a check. I went, I asked, they said, yes, you can make a deposit. And I said, bingo. Right after the orientation, I was there to get my check. I went to cash it and I went to make my deposit. Now it was time for project work. And because my undergraduate was in agriculture, I still have a passion for agric, and I wanted to still do something related to agriculture. And so I had selected some topics, but I was wondering, how is it going to be funded? Lord, please come through. I don't know what to do. And I was just praying. I had no clue where the money was going to come from. And then I got a call by the secretary of the school to go and see the director. I went to see the director. She said, there's a proposal from Africa Rice, and you're the only person in the class with a BSc in agric. So I was wondering, would you be interested? I said, I am more than interested. I'm taking it. So I got that project. And so my master's research, which I had to interview 200 rice farmers in the Volta region, 100 men and 100 women, was fully sponsored by Africa Rice, to the glory of God. And then come to examinations for my completion. I had another crisis. As for the crisis, I had them so many times, it almost seemed like it was going to be impossible to complete that course. So I remember on my final paper, I ran away from the hospital. And then I came to campus and I said, God, I just want to see. I just want to see to pass. I will not let the devil have the pleasure of me deferring this course. You prevented it from the start and you will prevent it again. So I would write something and then I'll put my head down, and my lecturer for that course, Auntie Sarah, she would say, come and write it next year, doesn't matter. I said, no, I just will write to get a C. That's all I want. So by the grace of God, I got more than a C in that course, because the Holy Spirit brings to remembrance. And he makes a way where there seemed to be no way. He says, casting all your cares upon him, for he cared for you. He saw me through it. And I've gone to the Volta region, gone to collect data for my work. And I have to now analyze my data and write my dissertation. And the sickness was still persisting, not allowing me. I mean, I seemed to be always fine when I wasn't doing anything serious, But as soon as I pick up my book or my work and I want to get serious, then I have a crisis. I'm like, what is going on, Lord? You're the author and the finisher of my faith. I need to be able to get this done. I didn't know what it was, but he says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places, principalities, powers. So I just said, have your way. Whichever way you're going to make me complete this course, just let it be possible. Because with you, nothing is impossible. That means I have to do something. So what God will do. My director said, I want you to come and live in my house. I mean, which student does his or her lecturer say, come and stay in my house so we can finish your work? But that's just what God did. My director asked me to come and stay in her house. I moved my things. I want to live in her house on campus. And whenever I was well, we will sit. Even if it's past midnight, we will sit and then she'll correct my work. Because she knows if I leave this girl next minute, she can be sick. And that is how I was able to finish my project work, which I did excellently in, to get my master's in communication studies. But for the intervention of God right from the very start of getting admission forms, through pain, through writing exams, through doing class tests and all of those, because I could come to lectures fine, and by the time the lectures is over, I get to my room, I'm a completely different person. I couldn't even eat proper food. I was always drinking just Ensure and cereals and taking tons and tons and tons of medication. But through it all, God brought different people at different stages. Sometimes it looked like I was at the end of the tunnel and it was dark and it was blocked. There was no way out. But he would come out to show his love, his compassion through people, sometimes strangers, sometimes people I knew, sometimes friends. I had course mates who would come and just come and massage me because I'm so fatigued and I'm aching all over. And up till this day, sometimes we laugh about it and say, hey, my masseur from school, tell your wife he used to massage me. You know, all those kind of things. I would have friends who would do my laundry for me, friends who would cook for me. You know, God just makes us realize that we can still go through fire, but he's there with us. If fire is hot, but he was the fourth man with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the flame. And so even in the flame, he's with us. Even when the lions are all around us and we think that they're going to devour us, he showed me like he was with Daniel. He's been with me. Now, let me tell you, sickness is painful. And when you're really sick, you see how useless a human being can be. Because there are times that I'll feel like my hands are tired, my legs are tired. I feel like, you know, I'm just being sacrificed, ready for the slaughter. But he just breaks the shackles in ways. And so for me, out of what God has done, I have come to appreciate life more. I have come to take life one day at a time and know that even when things don't go as I have planned, he has a better purpose for it. Even if it was the devil's doing, he says all things work together for my good. So whether it was the devil or it was somebody else, it doesn't matter. It's still working for my good. Out of the pain, I now can empathize with others more. Sometimes when people ask favors of me and I know that it's difficult, I sit back and I tell myself, God made people sacrifice for you. What are you sacrificing for others? I didn't want to talk about my health because I felt like it's my private business and I don't want people talking about me. But so many times I had asked him to save my life because I saw like I was just about to die. And he did. And so out of that, I said, Lord, I'm going to do advocacy. I'm going to talk about your love. I'm going to let people know that you're a healer, even if you experience symptoms. Somebody did not experience that symptom, but he died. But we, with all that symptoms, you're still alive. That's the reason to praise him and to thank him and to let everybody know that his faithfulness is great indeed. So that's a little I want to share about me. The goodness of God to me is countless. So another time, we'll talk about more. But have faith and know that God is not finished with you until he says he's finished. God bless you.